All right. I'll give you guys a sec to get in here for those watching live on the stream. It's only fitting. I woke up this morning and I'm wearing my Acknowledge the Bloodline shirt that my cousin got me for Christmas. Um, didn't mean to put it on, but it almost kind of makes sense too with what happened last night. You know, if a certain member of the Bloodline is not in here, not talking about Solo, but I don't know, man. We'll get into that. I'll give you guys a sec. Let me know if you guys can hear me. But all right, you guys can hear me good. All right, let's get into it. But yeah. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka G133, back here tonight with another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast for you guys. We are here with your WWE 2023 review and results of the Royal Rumble, and we do have a lot to talk about. I tweeted out last night immediately right after the show went off the air. I said, I think I'm going to take the night to get some rest and really think about this pay-per-view before I do the review. That's why I didn't do the stream last night after the show like everybody else rushed to do. But I've been thinking about the end of that show for the last 12 hours, and I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock of what we saw. And I tweeted this out as well, and it's in the title of this review. And I'll say it here to start the podcast. And last night's ending, that closing segment after the main event, may go down as one of, if not the greatest pay-per-view ending of all time for WWE. And I know, yes, we factor in recency bias and all these things all the time, but really, sit and think about for a sec. I've seen a lot of WWE pay-per-views in my time. I've seen, and I was born in the Attitude Era. I've seen a lot of shows in my time, but it's hard. It's really hard for me to think of a pay-per-view ending that was as emotional as that one, right? The storytelling and the layers that they told. And the thing about it, it wasn't like a 5-minute angle. It wasn't like something quick to end the show. They literally did the closing of that show after the main event had ended was 10, 15 minutes. They dragged it out, and every single second was just, you were on the edge of your seat. I was watching in Discord with a couple of Discord members yesterday, and literally we're seeing her like, what the hell is about to happen? And with every, twist and turn, it was like, wow. Because some of the stuff that happened, you expected to happen, but still, the way they told that story, every single person in that ring, had a role and they fulfilled it, right? And, that's where we're going to start. We're going to talk, we'll talk about Cody and Rhea Ripley winning the Rumbles. We'll talk about the matches themselves, but really, we're going to get straight to the main event. We're going to get straight to the main event and talk about that closing segment because everybody played their roles to perfection. Literally, it was so emotional. So emotional. And I know I didn't go to the Rumble this year. I considered it, but I decided not to. I regretted not going just because of that segment. Just getting to see that live would have been insane, right? And like, I don't like it's insane. I really can't think of a pay-per-view that had a more crazy emotional ending than that one. I can't think of one. If you guys can think of one, leave it in the chat. But I can't think of one off the top of my head. I really can't. And that show last night was something like, and even still, you think about it, that pay-per-view in itself wasn't perfect. It really wasn't. The two Rumble matches and the main event, is what made the show, good, great, whatever you want to call it. I think it was a good show. I don't think it was a great show, right? I think especially the Raw Women's Championship match was a waste of time. Honestly, there was no need. There was really no need to put that on the show. This honestly could have just been a 4-match show, right? Yeah, the Raw Women's Championship match was a waste of time, and the Pitch Black match, it was all right. But it wasn't anything like crazy. It was more just a spectacle than about the match itself, right? The match didn't do much for LA Knight, and it was kind of just wacky, but it was just really WWE. Of course, they probably made a shitload of money from Mountain Dew. Who knows how much Mountain Dew paid to be the sponsor and to have all that to have that Pitch Black match. So it was more WWE just fulfilling a sponsor obligation, but still, that wasn't anything special. This card, this match, this show was defined by the men's and women's Royal Rumble match, which both were good in my opinion, and the main event, which of course that ending segment was insane. The Bloodline segment, or the Bloodline story, really has been one of the best stories really I've ever seen in WWE, and maybe in wrestling history. This has been a 2.5-year story, right? And just the last 6 months, ever since Sami Zayn became involved, it's just skyrocketed to another level. And, God willing, years from now, once, the Bloodline is, retired, and once they've all, no longer wrestling, they're going to make documentaries about this. And it's going to be great to see, because they have put so much time and care into every single layer of the story, every single chapter, right? And literally last night's chapter was probably the greatest chapter so far. And, Paul Heyman, Triple H, whoever has a role with how, this story is being formed and being created and crafted deserves such a pat on the back. Because they are just giving you every single week things to keep you just engaged. And what they did last night was absolutely tremendous. Really, there's not enough good things I can say about that segment. You got Sami Zayn betraying the Bloodline. We talked about this for weeks. Would it be the Bloodline turning on Sami, or would it be Sami turning on the Bloodline? And you had to think which choice would be more emotional, right? And I think we all would agree that Sami turning on the Bloodline would have the more emotional impact, because if the Bloodline turned on Sami, right, you kind of would expect that. Sami was always the guy that didn't fit in. He was the one that wasn't actually a member of the Bloodline. He doesn't have any blood ties to Roman and his cousins, right? And Heyman's, he's not a wrestler. He's just there as the general counsel, the wise man in a way. He doesn't really have too much of an impact. But Sami Zayn, he was always the guy that just didn't fit in. So you always thought that eventually that the Bloodline would get angry enough, especially Roman would get angry enough, and then eventually just snap on Sami. Because especially we all know Roman has a big temper. Sami turning on the Bloodline, Sami being driven to the link where he just can't stand it anymore, that would be the more impact. And how that would impact each member of the Bloodline, that would be cool. And you saw that last night. Sami turning on the Bloodline had an impact on each member of the Bloodline differently. And that's that might be my favorite part of that segment last night. Really. It wasn't just Sami hitting the chair and the Easter egg. So when Seth originally turned on Roman in the Shield, right? This is the second time that, somebody has turned on Roman Reigns. It's not just, everything else they did with Kevin Owens watching on. Like, literally, it was the different reaction from each member of the Bloodline that got me, right? I can go down the line. Of course, Heyman's the wise man, right? Anytime he sees something that, of course, could be a danger to the tribal chief, right? His reactions are priceless, and I don't know if when Sami, maybe if somebody in the chat can let me know, but I don't know if there was a point where when Sami hit Roman in the back with the chair. If you remember when Seth did it, you could hear that no from the crowd. It's one of the best parts of that segment. You could just hear somebody from the crowd yelling no. I don't know if Heyman did the same thing. I swear, when I go back, I hear somebody saying no. I don't know if that's just my mind or if somebody did. But I swear I believe Heyman was yelling no. But, Heyman's reaction to when Sammy hits him with the chair and then the emotional beatdown, that was great, right? And then just going to each member of the bloodline. Solo had no remorse. Remember, last Monday on Raw in the Tribal Court segment, Solo was about to, beat Sami up when Roman yells Solo. Solo was going to take out Sami like no problem. And remember, Solo was originally before Jay came around, right? Jimmy was also, and we'll get to Jimmy, but Solo was cool with, Sami, right? It almost made sense. Sami would team with Solo. And there was a lot of tag matches where it was Sami and Solo together. Because remember, Jay and Jimmy, they were the tag champs. They were doing their thing. But Solo, you could argue, he spent the most time with Sami. And this is see. Solo liked Sami. Because Sami was about business. Sami would get stuff done. And there was times when the Usos would, be either too emotional or be arguing about something that Solo would be like, nah, I don't want to be with you right now. Get your act together. And he would just go with Sami because Sami would get stuff done. But then Solo just was absolutely remorse. He just didn't care. The second he saw that Sami had hit Roman with a chair, Solo was like, all right, done. All right, you're gone. I don't care about you no more. It's just like, because Solo's the one that doesn't have emotions. He's that heavy hitter that doesn't care. He's just like, I'm here to do my business and move on. Sits there with the Vegeta look and everything, and he's like, all right, let's go, next. So Solo just beating down Sami when he was the one that probably spent the most time with Sami was wild to see. Like, Solo really just like, all right, Sami, you're turning on us? Fine, I don't give a fuck. He had no emotional reaction. He's just like, all right, I'm going to take you out just like I take out everybody else. That's my job as being the enforcer. So that was good. Jimmy, which, everyone knows Jimmy's like the fun twin, right? Jimmy's the more laid back of the Usos. Jay's the more emotional one, right? And he also has a little bit of a temper like Roman. But Jimmy's always like the cool one. Jimmy's like the one that's chilled, laid back, likes to have fun. And remember, him and Sami, him and Sami were friends. They had their own, the handshake and everything. Jimmy loved Sami. And, every time Jay would be like, you really like that guy? And Jimmy's like, yeah, Sami's cool. He's hilarious. Always laughing when just Sami was telling jokes or giving stories. And, when you see that, when Sami hits Roman in the back, you look at Jay had similar reactions. Like, they were like, what did you just do? And then all of a sudden, you see Jimmy. Jimmy was the one that decided to attack Sami. It wasn't Solo. Jimmy attacked Sami before Solo did. And you can see Jimmy is an emotional wreck. Jimmy's like, you're not one of us. Jimmy was yelling at Jay like, we gotta get him. We gotta get him. Right? That's usually something Jay would be. Jay would be the one like, we gotta get him. Jimmy's saying, no, Jay, we gotta get him. He's not our blood. Did you see what he just did? So you see Jimmy's just absolutely beating the hell out of Sami. And you can see that he was also angry and sad at the same time. He was like, why are you making me do this? Why did it lead to this? We were good. Now I'm forced to take you out. Now I gotta destroy you. Jimmy was pissed, but sad at the same time that it had come to this. But yeah, you see Jimmy was pissed and sad, and then he's hitting Sami with brutal super kicks. And then next you have Jay. Jay's the one which was the heartbreaker. Because everybody knows Jay, and outside of Roman, Jay and Sami have had the most, the craziest relationship in the bloodline. The one with the most conflict. Jay never accepted Sami for months. For months, Jay didn't want Sami in the bloodline. No matter how much Sami would be there and help them with matches, Jay never came to accept Sami. Right? Until, of course, the War Games match. Right? And it was a War Games match where Jay finally accepted Sammy into the bloodline. And then they were good. They were good. They hugged each other. They had the handshake and everything. And then, of course, the Sami Zayn trial segment on Monday where Jay stepped up for Sammy. Jay stepped up and basically defended Sammy to the tribal chief. And then on Friday, Jay on SmackDown calling Sammy for backup after the Usos got kicked out of the arena, right? Jay came around and actually had the most faith in Sammy. So remember, Jay originally had no faith in Sammy. He was the member of the bloodline that didn't like Sammy at all. And then he comes around to eventually being the one that had the most faith in Sammy at the end. Right? Which you could, from all these months, from let's say, August? Let's say August is when Sammy kind of started joining the bloodline. From August to now, the last 5 months. The transition. And then, you see, when Sammy hits Roman in the back, Jay's yelling at Sammy, like, what are you doing, man? Like, he's emotional. He's like, what? And Sammy's like apologizing. I'm sorry, Jay. And Jay does not know what to do with himself. Then the rest of the bloodline started attacking Sammy, and Jay's just sitting there like, perplexed, like, doesn't know what to do. Jimmy's yelling at Jay, like, get him. Roman's like, here. Like, he's not one of us. You take him out, and then Jay's an emotional wreck. And then he leaves the ring. He walks out, and he's literally crying as he's walking out of the arena. And then the rest of the bloodline are looking at him like, what the hell? And then they go back to beating Sammy up. Because for Jay was the one that defended Sammy on the pre-show. If you guys didn't watch the pre-show, Roman asked Sammy, why the hell did you show up to the arena on Friday? I said I did not want to see you until the Rumble. I did not want to see you till Saturday. Why the hell were you there? Jay defended Sammy again. All to this point where now, Jay is he doesn't know what to do. The guy that he defended, the guy that he thought he could trust, now not only turned on him, now the rest of the bloodline is taking him out. He doesn't know what to do. That's probably the most interesting part of this that you're gonna have to see in the coming weeks. How is Jay? Because the most obvious route of the story now, of course, is Sammy turning babyface and reuniting with KO and them going after the Usos probably for one of those tag belts at Mania. That is the obvious route, right? Because we know WWE splitting up the tag team titles. They want one title for Raw, one title for SmackDown, right? Which belt that Sammy and KO would go for, who knows? But now the route is, all right, if Zayn's turning babyface and him and KO are going to team up against the Bloodline, right? Where does Jay go? How could Jay bring himself to hate Sami Zayn again the way he did before? Because Jay hated Sammy for months. He did not want him to have anything to do with the Bloodline. And then eventually Jay came around and he loved Sammy. He defended him. He looked at him as a brother. Will Jay be able to bring himself back to that hatred he had for Sami Zayn before? That's probably the most interesting part of this story. Because we know Roman, right? I think maybe if you choose to do Roman versus Sammy at the Elimination Chamber, yes, that is very, very interesting. I think that is very, very interesting if you choose to do that. I don't know if they will, but at some point, people are going to want to see Roman versus Sammy, no matter if it's for the title or not, right? I think the Elimination Chamber could be the perfect part because we know it's probably going to be Cody Rhodes. It's looking more and more unlikely by the day that's going to be The Rock. So it's probably going to be Cody versus Roman. Will it be for both titles or one title? We'll see. We'll see how that forms in the next couple of weeks. But Cody's probably going to face Roman at Mania for one, if not both of those belts. But Sammy versus Roman, everyone's going to want to see that as well. Maybe you do that at the Elimination Chamber. Maybe you do something where you split up the belts and you have Sammy challenge for one of them at Mania. That I think that's the more unlikely route because people want to see Sammy and KO versus the Usos. I don't know. But either way, no matter what, Roman's going to have to deal with Cody at Mania. So Roman's focused on Zayn. If it's not at the Elimination Chamber, you would have to probably do it sometime going to the summer. So it's a lot to think about, and it's a lot, and the fallout of last night is gonna have an impact on the rest of WrestleMania season, and I'm here for it. But it's still like absolutely insane what they were able to do last night and how good that was. And so I don't even know. I don't know. Will the Bloodline be on Monday Night Raw? That's another thing we got to consider. Are they going to make us wait? Because I can definitely see Raw this week, of course, being headlined by Cody winning the Rumble, right? And Cody returning to Monday Night Raw and doing whatever they have planned with him, right? Because they're probably going to, I don't know if they're going to keep it safe with him or they're going to have him wrestle a lot, because his feud with Roman probably won't pick up till around Elimination Chamber time. So they're going to need something to keep, Cody a little bit busy till then. But definitely that's going to headline Raw unless the Bloodline's on Raw. If they don't have the Bloodline on Raw, SmackDown's going to be must-watch this Friday, right? The fallout. Will Sami and KO even be on Raw or SmackDown this week? Literally. So these are all questions that we have no idea what to expect. But it's so exciting because now Raw and SmackDown feel must-watch. This is what WrestleMania season's all about. WrestleMania season, you're supposed to be hyped for every single Raw and SmackDown because literally it's supposed to all build towards WrestleMania. So I don't know. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm hyped. I am amped, now to see where this goes. But like for me, the most interesting part of this is the Jey Uso part. That's really what it is. I'm so curious of where they go. Will Jey still be friends with Sami? Will Jey understand why Sami did what he did? How does this impact Jey's relationship with Roman and the rest of the Bloodline since he basically walked out on them? Right? Would the Bloodline be apologetic to Jey because they understand why, he was emotional after Sami Zayn betrayed them? Like, will they be mad at Jey for walking out on them? Right? Will Jey potentially be kicked out of the Bloodline? I don't think so, but there is so many levels to this. It's so interesting, and I kind of wish we could just go right to Monday or Friday. Literally, I haven't felt this way about a story in WWE for a long time, right? And I love that we have this feeling that we have zero clue where the story's gonna go next. Right. The only obvious part really is probably Sami and KO reuniting. But other than that, we have zero clue what's going to happen next. And that's what makes it exciting because you shouldn't know what's going to happen next. You should be watching every single week because you want to know what's going to happen next. That's great storytelling right there. And think about it. I didn't even mention how they had, KO handcuffed to the ropes, right? And how brutal that match was itself. We didn't even talk about the match. So the match itself, right? Roman and KO, it was great. Roman and KO have fantastic chemistry with each other. That's that's obvious. Roman and KO have fantastic chemistry with one another. Hold on, I forgot to turn my monetization on. There we go. But Roman and KO have fantastic chemistry with one another, and I was laughing before the match even began. I was in Discord. I was like, "How long is it going to take Roman to get down that ring?" Because we all know Roman loves his slow entrance. Took up I had the stopwatch. 5 minutes and 3 seconds was Roman's entrance, and like ridiculous. It took him forever. That ramp. And I kind of understood it. Yes, you had 50,000 people in the Alamo Dome, right? But that ramp was hilarious. Seriously, like, golly, that was a long ramp. So, and Roman took his time walking down to the ring. He took his time walking. It took him 5 minutes to get down to the ramp. And before Roman told the rest of the Bloodline, stay in the back, it's Sami's night, right? Sami's going to be attached to Roman's hip all night, which he was. He was outside right next to Paul Heyman basically the entire match. And like I said, it was great. It was great. You know, Roman and KO had fantastic chemistry. It was hard hitting. You know, Roman doing his normal shit talking as usual, right? KO giving him but for the most part, Roman dominated this match. Like KO got his offenses right. KO did the frog splash and the senton. You know, he did block. He did botch his moonsault. And the thing about it is, KO doesn't almost never botches. He's one of the best at usually, but you know I'm not gonna get on him. Everyone makes mistakes here and there, and but he did botch his moonsault a little bit, which was kind of funny, but that he got right back up and did another move. He didn't just sit there, but uh, but for most, yeah, this was dominated by Roman. Roman hit multiple spears and KO just kept kicking out. Superman punches, all that. Uh, and then Owens did hit a pop up power bomb, but the ref was knocked down on the outside of the ring, so he wasn't able to make up the count. Then Roman nailed him with a low blow and tried to use a chair, because Roman yelled at Zayn to throw a chair. Zayn's yelling, You said not to get involved. You said not to do anything." Roman yells, "I'm telling you right now, get the damn chair." So Zayn grabs the chair, and the thing is, he couldn't find it. He went to the announcers, and there was no chairs there. Then he went to the timekeepers area. There was no chairs there. Heyman's yelling at him, "Look under the ring." So Zayn grabs one from under the ring. But he took so long to get the chair, it allowed KO to recover. KO hit a stunner on Roman, and literally, you know, Heyman was looking at Zayn, because if KO had won, basically they would have blamed it on Zayn not getting the chair faster. But then it got even more brutal. So Roman just got pissed. Roman got insanely pissed that he had almost lost the match. So all of a sudden, Reigns, I think he hit another spear on KO, but then KO rolled out of the ring multiple times, right? And then Zayn's just telling KO, like, just stay down, man. Like, what are you doing? You know, like, just end it. You're just making him angrier. You're not helping yourself. And then Roman speared KO through the barricade, which looked brutal. Then Roman takes KO and then just tosses him head first. It looked head first. I hope they were playing it safe, but it looked head first, just throwing KO onto the steel steps. Absolutely brutal. He did it like twice. I literally thought KO had a concussion. I was like, holy moly, like, what is, like, and I for a second I was like, is Roman, like, you know, is he breaking kayfabe? Is he like, is he trying to be safe, or like, what is he doing here? You know, or maybe KO's just amazing at selling, but then Roman threw him back into the ring, hit him with one more spear, and that was it. The match was over. The match was good. Roman dominated it. It almost felt like Cena versus Roman from SummerSlam. You know, Roman dominated that match for the most part. Cena got his moves in, but you know, Roman dominated. You know, Roman dominated this match, and KO got his moves in here and there, but dominated by Roman, and that was that. After, excuse me, sorry, I got something in my throat. Hold on. Better. Sorry about that. Anyway, after the match, Roman gets, you know, he gets his belts, and you know, he all of a sudden the rest of the Usos are in there. Like, it was kind of like they just popped up because they went to show highlights, and all of a sudden you see the rest of the Usos in there, and then Solo. So then, instead they just decide to just beat down KO. KO took an absolute ass kicking last night. So they start beating him down more. Jimmy and Jay get their licks. Solo gets some licks on KO, and then they decide, like, oh no, they're not done. They do the 1D, right? Solo then slammed KO. Then they decide to go and do more, and they grab handcuffs. They have handcuffs, not one but two. They have 2 handcuffs and they handcuff KO to the middle rope. KO can barely stand, and the Usos just start doing super kicks left and right. So it's like taking turns. I think they each did like 5 super kicks on him. So KO's, and these sounded brutal. Of course, they're slapping their leg to make it sound more painful. But KO's just getting hit with super kicks left and right. He can barely stand. And then all of a sudden, Roman grabs a chair, and he's about to hit KO in the face with the chair. But Zayn's telling him to stop, please. Like, there's no point. Like, you've already won. You've already destroyed the man. Like, the guy's nearly unconscious. Just leave. Just let it be. So Roman's like, okay. And he hands the chair to Zayn. Like, you do it. You do it. Right? This guy's been a pain in our ass for months. Right? This is your chance. You're really with us? Do it right now. He doesn't care about you the way I do, right? Roman's just getting in Sammy's head. Sammy's about to do it, but then he just can't bring himself to do it. Roman's just like then just talking shit. Heyman's saying, just do it. Do it. Do it. The rest of those is like, just do it, man. Like, you got nothing to lose. And then the first time Sammy teased like he was gonna hit Roman, but nobody like really thought he was actually gonna do it. Right? But then Roman talks it again. He gets directly in Sammy's face and then starts like slapping him. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? And that's what set Sammy over the edge. The disrespect, right? Roman treating him like a little child, And then all of a sudden, Roman turns his back again to talk shit to KO. Looked very similar to how Seth Rollins when he turned on the Shield back in 2015, which is crazy. It's been 8 years. It's been 8 years since that day. But then Roman takes a chair, or not Roman, Sammy takes the chair and nails it in Roman's back, and everyone's reaction was insane. I wish I could do a live reaction to that, but of course you can't because of copyright. WWE would have that taken out in a sec, but insane. The pop was insane. I don't know. You're gonna get a pop like that at any time the rest of the year for WWE. That pop that he got when Sammy nailed Roman in the back was insane. I was like, the Alamo Dome literally, just went 360 degrees. Everybody was cheering, and then the rest of the segment happened, and it was insane, right? The show ends with Roman rips the honorary Uso shirt. You're not one of us anymore. He rips the shirt off of Zayn. They beat the hell out of him, and then Roman takes there was the necklace, right? There's a necklace that each member of the bloodline wears, especially when they win matches, and they were about to put one on Sammy, but the one they were gonna put on Sammy, Roman rips up and then just like drops the flower over Zayn's body, like, you're done, goodbye. And then the show ends with KO lifeless, handcuffed in the ring. Zayn's lifeless in the middle of the ring. And then you have Roman, Heyman, Solo, and Jimmy looking back because Jay had already left. And they're just looking back at Sammy. And that's how the show ends. Easily, like I said, one of the best angles I've ever seen. One of the best endings to a pay-per-view I've ever seen. And just crazy stuff. Crazy stuff, man. That, like I said, that we really got to consider that potentially being the greatest ending to a pay-per-view we've ever had. Really. That was amazing stuff by everybody involved. And I can't wait to see where they go with this. I don't know, like I said, it's Sunday, so we probably won't know till tomorrow afternoon. But definitely everyone's gonna want them to follow up with this on Monday Night Raw. If they don't have the Bloodline or Sami or KO on Monday, SmackDown's gonna be must watch. It is, because there's so much to follow up on. Jimmy, what is he still in the Bloodline? What will he be punished? What happens with him? Will Sami and KO stand up? Will they be there? What's their reaction? So much. You also got to think, when will Cody confront Roman for the first time? Right? Could that be tomorrow night on Raw? Could it be on SmackDown? There's so much to look forward to. But Everybody that had a role to deal with that segment last night deserves a huge pat on the back. That was great. That was great. I'm looking at Twitter real quick, see if there's any big news, but not much. Oh, not much. Man. Humble Wrestling tweeted out Sammy turning to Jay and saying, I'm sorry. Sammy did not even seem angry. He was just over it. The beatdown made people uncomfortable, but they still couldn't look away. Jimmy Jay was crying because he walked out of his own blood. Jimmy saying, I'm your brother. Oh, man. Mm. The Young Bucks changed. Of course they did. The Young Bucks changed their Twitter cover picture to Cody celebrating after winning the Royal Rumble. Of course they did. The Young Bucks are just so petty, bro. So petty. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any big news. Oh, I even mentioned, yeah, I forgot the FU Roman chants. The FU Roman chants. Completely forgot about that. Yes, and that just speaks to how good a heel that Roman has become as the tribal chief. He was getting FU Roman chants after when they were beating Sammy down, and the thing that's crazy is, remember Sammy was the one that betrayed the bloodline. That's the thing. It was Sammy that betrayed the bloodline. It wasn't the bloodline that turned on Sammy. Sammy betrayed the bloodline, and still the crowd was chanting "F you, Roman." That's next level heel stuff. Great, but but yeah, okay. There's not no major news, but oof. But let's talk about the rest of the show. Remember, this was not the only thing that happened. We spent 40 minutes just talking about that. It was definitely worth talking about. But let's get to the rest of the show. So the show started with the men's Rumble match, and it made sense really because it kind of made sense. Because you were gonna start with the men's Rumble match, and then you're gonna put the women's stuff in between, and then end, of course, with the main event. And because of that angle, you knew that had to be the main event. There was no other place to put that but the main event. So it made the most sense. Um, But Pat McAfee came out, so the show started off, and Pat McAfee came out. He got a huge pop. It is great to have Pat back. You guys know I love him. He's my favorite commentator in WWE, and he just makes Michael Cole better. Really, Michael Cole just feels like a more fun commentator when McAfee's out there with him. So McAfee came out. Corey Graves was absolutely pissed, right? McAfee got a whole ass entrance. It was funny. McAfee like grabs on top of the announce chair, and he was about to like fall out and break his ankle. But him and Michael Cole hugged at ringside. Great stuff. And oh no, don't tell me my camera just turned off. Let me try to turn it back on, but this camera's been annoying me, guys. Ugh. It's been pissing me off as of late. I just changed the why that just happened. It just shut off in the middle of recording. I don't know, man. This camera's giving me problems, man. And this is a $900 camera, so it's not like you just get a new one. Anyway, what was I saying? But yeah, McAfee came out, which was great. It's amazing to have him back. You know, now that college football is officially over, you know, it'll be interesting. Will McAfee have a match at Mania this year? Definitely, probably with, you know, Mania being two nights again. But yeah, let me know in the chat. Who do you guys want to see McAfee face off against? I think there's a lot of options you can go with. But yeah, we started off with the men's Royal Rumble, and I will say right before that the men's Royal Rumble wasn't bad. There wasn't any major surprises. Like no really. There was like two big returns, and that was like Booker T. Booker T at fucking 57 years old coming back to wrestle. Insane. He was only in the match for like a minute though. He was only in there maybe even 90 seconds. Well, Booker T at 57, you know, he still looks like he's in his prime. Like literally, like I don't know what workouts he's doing, but he still looks in amazing shape for his age. Almost looked similar to how he looked during the Attitude Era. But Booker T, and then of course Edge coming back, which was kind of obvious. I expected Edge to come back, and then you had Cody at number 30. I didn't have really, you know, much problems with any of that. I did have, my only thing was you kind of be a little nitpicky with Cody, right? Cody was the favorite. Cody was the favorite going into this match, and they kind of marketed this event around his return. You know, all of it. I don't know if you guys knew that all of his merch at the Superstore sold out over the weekend, so people were definitely very excited to have Cody back. You know, I know he had a bunch of new shirts that came out and all that good stuff. But you know, really, KO coming out at 30 was my problem, because some people brought up in Discord. I saw some people also bring it on Twitter as well. As the match went on, like one thing is you look at the men's match. One thing that I will say this right away, I think the women's Royal Rumble match was better, because it was more of you know, there was a lot of people that you didn't expect to be in that match, from NXT superstars to, you know, there was a couple of cool returns in there as well. You look at the women's match, there was not a lot of people announced. I think only a third of the field was announced to be in the match beforehand. You look at the men's match, you knew who was going to be in that match for the most part. And of course, there's a lot more male wrestlers than women's wrestlers on the roster. So definitely, and WWE has so much talent now that it gets a little more difficult to have big surprises in the Rumble, of course, right? But you have the men's, you know, you have the men's match. You look at the list of all the people that were announced, and you start checking them out one by one. And of course, the more you go through, right, the more entries you have. Once you get into the, of course, like that 20 range, you're just thinking, all right, you know, Cody hasn't come out. This name hasn't come out. Ricochet hasn't come out. Braun Strowman hasn't come out. And you're just like, the more likely it's going to be that somebody like Cody's going to be 30. Unless they have like The Rock or Stone Cold or somebody else come out. And it was just like, it became a little predictable and a little lame. Really, as excited as I was to see Cody come back, I wanted to see, you know, I would have rather him come out maybe like in the mid-20 range, like 24, 25. Him come back at 30 was just a little predictable and a little lame, because everyone knew it was going to be him. And my thing is, like, even if Cody never got injured, Cody probably would have still won the Rumble, because I felt like they would have spent all of last year, the summer months, right after his feud with Seth. If he never got injured, they would have just put him in other storylines just to keep him busy until the Rumble. And if they had done that and had him come out at number 30, that's different. That's different. I don't have any problem with that. But it was the fact that you knew Cody was coming back. They marketed it. They did all these promo videos to hype it up. And then you just put him at number 30. It felt a little bit lame. It was like, okay, we're going to throw you at number 30. We're going to throw you at the easy spot. Right. We're going to give you the easy spot. And that's going to be that. You know, we're going to make it easy for you to win. Yes, of course, Cody was in the run for a good amount of time. He came in and he looked amazing. Plus that ending sequence with Gunther, they literally had a match at the end of the Men's Rumble match. They had a match. You know, it was good, but it's if I'm being a little nitpicky, it was like, did we really have to put Cody at 30? Like we could have put him at 24, at number 25. You know, but also then I could also fight back and then say, when you look at this field, you look at all the other competitors, right? You look at all the other competitors. None of these other names would have made sense that coming out of number 30. None of them. Maybe Logan Paul, but really there was nobody else that would have made sense to come out at number 30. So that's just me being a little nitpicky. If it was me booking it, I would have had Cody come out a little bit earlier, like number 24, number 25. But it is what it is. That's just being nitpicky. But like I said, the men's match was just a good Rumble match. It wasn't, you didn't have any crazy returns. It was basically all main roster people. There was no NXT guys in it as well. Of course, many of these superstars came from NXT, right? But there was no NXT guys. There was really no legends outside of Booker T, right? It was really just a strong Rumble match with all modern day talent, all the current day roster. You know, it wasn't insane or anything. There was a cool spots, which I'll get into, but it was just a okay Rumble match, right? Nothing too bad. So I'll go through the participants really quick. We'll talk about a couple of them. Gunther, of course, he's the big star of this Rumble. Outside of Cody, Gunther's the big star. You know, he started from the number 1 spot and went all the way to the final 2. He was in the match for what, I believe 70 minutes, right around there. You know, and definitely this helps him. Clearly, this shows how much Triple H loves this guy. Clearly, you know, and you notice it seems like there's a recurring theme now with the men's and the women's Rumble match every year. Whoever comes out of number 1 or number 2 almost always makes it to the end now. Usually in the past, that wasn't the case. And of course, you guys remember last year when I bitched about Sasha coming out of number 2 and she was only in the match for like 15 minutes. But most times now, you know, you send a superstar out of number 1 or number 2, they're going to like final 4. They're there to almost the end now, right? So Gunther was in there for 70 minutes and he had a amazing showing. He eliminated a good amount of guys, and of course, that ending sequence with Cody was fantastic. You know, Gunther just continues to impress people. He just really does. He's just an amazing worker, and the guy, I think this guy could be a future world champion in the next couple of years. You know, he's had an amazing IC title run, probably one of the best Intercontinental Championship reigns, you know, in the modern day. But still, the outside of Gunther's just been incredible. Strong matches, good title reign, great Rumble showing, right? The way people popped when he was in there with Brock Lesnar, people want that match. It seems like it's more likely that they're going to go Brock and Lashley at Mania, but if they don't, man, Gunther and Brock, you got to set that up. If you don't do Brock and Gunther at Mania, you got to do that like SummerSlam or something. That's a match that has to be done at some point this year. But Gunther, of course, Gunther's probably the MVP of this Rumble match for a lot of people, and they are turning this guy into a star. He has future world champion written all over him. Sheamus came out at number 2, which was great because, of course, Gunther and Sheamus, they had arguably the match of the year last year at Clash of the Castle in Cardiff. So those two starting off made sense. And remember, those two, Sheamus was into what, the final 5, final 6, something like that. He was in there, 62 minutes, I believe, if I'm right. So definitely Sheamus, love him. You know, one of the most underrated superstars of all time, in my opinion. Love Sheamus. Miz came out at number 3. Kofi came out at number 4. Kofi, it's the end of an era with him. We all remember for a decade plus, right? Kofi had all those amazing Royal Rumble saves from, jumping on the barricade or playing using a announce chair as a pogo stick, right? But the last 2 years, Cody's failed his Royal Rumble spot. This year, he when he got eliminated, I guess I don't know if Xavier was trying to save him with the chair or what was supposed to be the plan, but uh, literally they didn't get the balance right, and Kofi, it looked like he almost hit his head on the side of the announce table. I was more worried about his health than anything, but Cole, it ends. It's the end of a decade. Really, Kofi had there's videos on WWE's YouTube page of all of Kofi's amazing Rumble saves, right? And but that brings an end to what was a amazing era, an amazing decade plus of Kofi saves. I don't know if he just doesn't have them in him anymore. Really, which you get older, right? It gets a little bit harder, and it also gets more difficult to find more creative ways to keep yourself in the Rumble. But so I'm just glad that Kofi doesn't have a major head injury or anything like that. Um, yeah. Move on. Johnny Gargano came out at number 5. He's back from that little shoulder injury he had. He was wearing like some what was it, a teenage mutant like what was it? Teenage Mutant it's such a tongue twister. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles outfit. That was his gear. We know Johnny's a big nerd, like a big comic anime guy. So that was cool. Xavier came out at number 6. I would have popped big if Big E was able to return for the Rumble, but I know of course, he's still recovering from that neck injury. But Xavier came out at number 6. Karrion Kross came in at number 7. Kross did not last long at all, which I was surprised. I expected Kross I didn't expect Kross to make it like the final 4, but especially Kross is one of Triple H's guys, so I thought Kross would have a longer showing, but yeah, he was out in about 5 minutes, which was surprising. Gable came in at number 8. McIntyre came in at number 9. McIntyre, and Sheamus, they teamed up for the entire Rumble. Where, like I said, they were down to like the final 5 before they got. I think Gunther eliminated both of them. But yeah, Sheamus and McIntyre were teaming up to eliminate people the entire match. Very dominated the Banger Bros. This was funny. I saw a article that WWE says that WWE was taking out that name because they figured out that Banger Bros is very similar to the porn site Bang Bros, which I find absolutely hilarious. I find it hilarious that it took them that long to realize how similar that name was to that website. But you had Santos Escobar at number 10, Angelo Dawkins at number 11. Lesnar came out at number 12, right? Remember Lesnar won the Rumble last year, and Lesnar's had some amazing Rumble showcases. He won the Rumble last year, and then remember a couple years before that when he went through like the first 15 people by himself, right? But Lesnar came out and he took out like 3 or 4 guys, very very quickly. But then Lashley came out. Lashley speared Lesnar and threw him out. So Lashley gets some revenge on Lesnar, and we'll see how that feud continues. We know those two can't stand each other, especially after Lashley got cost another United States Championship victory because of Lesnar's interference. Lesnar was pissed. Lesnar was angry that he got eliminated so quickly. And then Baron Corbin comes out. And remember, Baron Corbin has a kind of like every year Corbin's thing in the Rumble is he comes out and he like eliminates a favorite. Every year, Vince would have Corbin eliminate a favorite. But Corbin came out and Lesnar F5'd him before he could even get to the ring. So then Adam Pearce and company had to come out and, get Lesnar out of there. Right? That's to keep the Rumble match from continuing. But then Rollins came in, and then uh, he brought Corbin into the ring, hit him with a stomp, and then eliminated Corbin. Which is good. That I was happy that they got Corbin out of there quickly. Can't stand Corbin. Otis came out at number 16. Otis brought back the Caterpillar. He did his old finishing move, the Caterpillar elbow drop. Back when he used to do back when he was in Heavy Machinery. So that was cool. Rey Mysterio was supposed to be number 17, but he never came to the ring. His entrance music played, but he never came out. Because at number 18, Dominic came out, and Dominic was wearing Rey's mask. So clearly, Dominic attacked Rey backstage and took his mask and decided to wear it to the ring. And then all you see is Dominic ripping the mask out, which is crazy, man. I want to know, there's got to be some kind of stat out there. How many masks has Rey had destroyed in his career? Like we've seen Randy Orton, we've seen Dominic, we've seen Kane, right? We've seen a lot of superstars rip that mask off of Rey and destroy it. But of course, Dominic came out and he ripped the mask off, right? So clearly, this is leading towards WrestleMania. This is this story been going on for half a year now. So clearly, they're continuing to lead this towards WrestleMania. I thought it would have been cool if Rey had come out later and then eliminate Dominic, right? Because clearly, Dominic takes any chance he gets. Even though Rey's on the other show, any chance that Dominic gets, he uses it to cause pain to his father. So it would have been cool to see Rey get some revenge, because he really hasn't. He's tried everything to stay away from his son. But it would have been cool for Rey to get a little bit of revenge here. But we'll see. Clearly that should be the match for Mania, right? Rey versus Dominic. We'll just have to hope that that they continue building towards that, even though they're on opposite shows. But I just love the constant continuation with that storyline. Next up, we had Elias. Elias came out, and he hit his guitar on Gunther. Then we had Finn Balor at 20. We had Booker T at number 21. But like I said, Booker T, 57 years old, looked insane. I mean, insane. Looks to be in insane shape for his age. I was like, damn. He came in, did a couple backflips or back knee strikes. I forget what the name of the move is called. And then he did the spinaroonie, which is always cool. Then at 21, I think it was 22 was Damian Priest. 23 was Montez Ford. Number 24 was Edge, which was no surprise. I was waiting for it the entire match, especially once you had the entire Judgment Day in there. You knew Edge was gonna come in. And remember, we haven't seen Edge since I think Extreme Rules, if I'm right, since the I Quit match. So Edge came out and he went right after Judgment Day, right after them, speared all three. He eliminated Balor, eliminated Priest, but wasn't able to eliminate Dominic. Dominic was in there for a good amount. Dominic, for a while there, people thought, will Dominic make it to like the final three, final two? Like Dominic or not, man, the guy knows how to get heat on him. He knows how to get heel heat. He's not the most charismatic guy, but still, he does know how to get the people to boo him. But yeah, Edge. But then Edge got eliminated because Balor would still never make sense to me. How could someone that's not in the match eliminate somebody? So Edge was on the outside on the apron, and then Balor, who was mad, ripped him down from the apron, eliminating him. But like I said, it doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense how someone not in a match can still eliminate another guy. Now, I don't think that will ever make sense to me, to be honest. Anyway, After that, we had Austin Theory come out at number 25. Almost came out at number 26. And literally, I said in my Discord call, oh my gosh, Strowman's going to be number 27, right? Just because they're going to, they always have to do the big man face off. And of course, Strowman did come out at number 27. And then Strowman eliminated Almost with a clothesline over the top rope. You had Ricochet at number 28. You had Logan Paul making his return at number 29, which wasn't surprising, and Cody at number 30. So Logan Paul comes out at number 29. He's yelling, "I'm back," whatever. He looks like he's fully healed from that MCL sprain, right? Remember, he had that major MCL sprain after his match out with Roman at Crown Jewel, but he looks like he's fully healed. As much I am not a fan of Logan Paul. The guy can wrestle. The guy can wrestle and he has talent, but he's just but he's not my favorite guy. He's not a really good person, and I know he's always in some kind of weird scandal news or whatever. But him and Ricochet had one of the craziest spots I've ever seen. This was easily the spot of the match, and one of the spots of the night. Ricochet and Logan Paul are on the opposite ends of the ring, and they decided to do a springboard right into one another. One of the craziest things I've ever seen. Remember, Ricochet did something like that with I forget his name, the guy from NXT, former NXT North American champion. But this is something you've never seen on the main roster. So literally jumping from opposite ends of the ring, springboarding into one another, insane. You got to think about that. To have that athletic ability, right? Because you got to time that to perfection. If you don't time that, you could hit each other in the wrong spot and take each other out. But to have that athletic ability, and then just to make contact each other at that speed, definitely, I would not be surprised if both have sore cords and chests today, because they collided into each other. Oh, it looked painful, but it was an incredible spot, an incredible moment, something that people wanted the second they saw it, and they got it. Great stuff there, and of course, Cody came out at number 30. It was great to see Seth and Cody interact with one another again, right? I think the final three was Seth, Cody, and Gunther. And you can see Cody and Seth, them interacting once again after all these months. Even with Seth now, Seth's a babyface, and Seth almost went back into a heel mode because how much Cody annoys him. Cody's like, you're back to steal another moment of mine? I refuse to let you steal another one of my moments. And Cody's like, man, I'm like, then let's go right here, right now. And Seth's like, listen to them sing my song. And then they took each other out. Gunther eliminated Seth. And then Cody and Gunther literally had like a 10-minute back and forth. Incredible. Like, Gunther was going after Cody's chest, right near his pectoral muscle. You could see where Cody's scar is from the surgery. And Cody and Gunther are just going at it, just absolutely nailing each other. And, it was brutal because I was like, damn, not only has Cody, of course, he hasn't been in the ring in months, right? What was it, May? It was 7-8 months since he got injured. But also, you got to think about it. How's that pectoral muscle going to, because he came back a little bit early, if I'm right. So, I'm sitting there thinking, like, how's that pectoral muscle gonna hold up? Is he gonna be okay? And he looked fine, but you could see where Gunther was hitting him in the chest, it was leaving welts everywhere. So definitely, I was like, "Oh, this is brutal." And there were so many spots where, I thought Gunther was gonna win. Really, like, that's the thing. Even though Cody was the favorite, Gunther, like, there was a couple parts where Gunther made you believe that, he's probably gonna win this thing. I forgot how the match actually ended. I know Cody hit Gunther with I think Cody hit him with a crossroads, and then this clothesline him over. But either way, Cody still wins, which of course not surprised. Cody was the favorite to win the match. And what was an okay Rumble match? Wasn't spectacular or anything, but definitely it was a strong performance basically by the main roster. There was no legends really outside of Booker T. There was no NXT guys that got caught up or anything, like no Braun Breaker, or Cameron Grimes or anything like that. But just a strong Rumble match, really. Just a really strong Rumble match by the main roster guys, and it was okay. It was good, right? Of course, like I said, I could be nitpicky about Cody coming out of 30, but still, he was gonna win the match probably from regardless of whatever spot he had. But yeah, Cody wins the Rumble match. I think Michael Cole on commentary tonight throughout this entire show was great. I don't know if it was because Pat McAfee's back that he just has more confidence when Pat's there, but Michael Cole literally was swearing when Dominic came out with Ray's mask. I think Michael said someone's got to beat that piece of and then Corey had to stop him, right? And then Pat's calling Dominic like a little bitch boy. And then at the end, Michael Cole said something. The American Nightmare. Yeah, this was the quote. The American Nightmare gets closer to. The American Nightmare takes one step closer to the American Dream, which that's just hard right there. That quote is just, great stuff by Michael Cole. Michael was great on commentary tonight. One of his best performances, and Cody wins the Rumble match. Yeah. Great stuff by Cody. Welcome back. Great to have him back, right? And I don't know if you guys saw like the press conference they did after the show, but Cody, talked about how Triple H had no reason to like him, right? Really had no reason to like him after all these years, because when he was in AEW, when he was in AEW, he took shots at WWE, like with the crushing of the throne, and even though they're lighthearted, but still Triple H didn't need to like him. But now he's building this relationship with him. Now that Triple H is in charge of creative and all this other stuff, and then Cody was like, I hope tonight Triple H got to see me, not my father, but really just got to see me as a man. Right, because Triple H says he's been in the ring with Cody. Remember back in the day with DX and Legacy, Triple H has seen Cody grow from this young talent, this young superstar with all the talent in the world, to now, arguably, one of the faces of the company, a guy who's going to challenge now in the main event for the world title at WrestleMania. But great stuff. And then Cody gave another cool line backstage. Cody was like, at Hollywood, I go from undeniable to uncrowned no more. And I love it. Great stuff. Everyone just dropped me hard quotes tonight. Cody and Michael Cole. Great stuff. Cody wins the Rumble match, and especially the ending. The ending of both Rumble matches was great tonight. But yeah, Cody wins the Rumble match, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he ends up facing Roman for both titles at Mania, or it just ends up being for one title. We'll see if WWE still plans to split those titles up or not. We'll just have to be patient. But great stuff. Moving on. We had LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt in the Pitch Black match. And of course, this was sponsored by Mountain Dew. It was really Like I said, the middle part of the show with LA Knight and Bray Wyatt, and especially the Raw Women's Championship match, I feel like those were just there just to fill in time. Definitely, of course, when it comes to Bray Wyatt, he's one of the most creative guys in the company, one of the most creative guys we've ever seen. So definitely, I was interested from that standpoint to see, what do they have planned? Do they have anything crazy planned here? And I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything special. I was hoping this would more be a big moment for LA Knight than Bray Wyatt, because you guys know I am a big LA Knight guy. I think the guy, has more charisma than 90% of the roster. LA Knight is amazing. And I've actually enjoyed this feud. I might be in a minority here, but these two have been feuding for the last 2-3 months. I've enjoyed it. I think just the wackiness of the Bray Wyatt segments and his creativity and LA Knight's charisma has made these segments enjoyable. I was really hoping it would like kind of build up into what would be like a fun finish, right? I thought this would lead to like a fun, maybe a little wacky match. And of course, I know there's some top guys that don't want to work with Bray, not because they don't like him, but because his creativity and the context of his character with the supernatural and all that can be it can be it can make booking matches against top guys confusing and weird, right? Because I know Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman and other guys can testify to that. But still, I was hoping that this would just lead to like a fun, conclusion to this feud, and it was just. I did think the setting was very cool, right? They had like the basically this glow in the dark lights, right? The ring rows were lit up. They had the Mountain Dew logo in the middle of the ring, and of course, LA Knight was wearing like glow in the dark attire, and so Bray had some really cool like fake teeth and makeup around his eyes. He looked like a scared like raccoon, and that was really cool. And then they had like glowing paint everywhere as well, and it was a very cool environment. I definitely can see someone making that ring in like WWE 2K20, 2K22. We don't have 2K23 yet, but I can see someone making that ring in WWE 2K22 and then just having fun with it. But it was all right. It wasn't anything too special for the most part. It was basically just a no disqualification match with special lights. That's really what it was. There wasn't any like crazy stipulations or anything like that. But yeah, they fought in and out of the ring. They used weapons, chairs, candlesticks, tables. It wasn't that long. It was a little less than 10 minutes. And then Wyatt won with Sister Abigail. So it was, it was whatever. It was fun. It was, it wasn't anything. It wasn't bad. It was just, just a little, just really mid. This won't be remembered the way the Firefly Funhouse match, like the Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena. We'll remember that match forever because that was fun, right? This won't be something that people will just go back and watch. It was a cool environment. Might be a cool match, and maybe put in WWE 2K23, right? To have that arena in there. But it won't be anything like too special, too crazy. I was a little disappointed by the way LA Knight was presented because Wyatt really dominated this match, and I was hoping LA Knight would get a little bit more of a focus here. Even if LA Knight was not gonna win, I was hoping LA Knight would get at least a little shine because I definitely think LA Knight should be a guy that they try to push a little bit more. I love LA Knight, man, really do. But then after the match, they kept going at it. So they fought all the way to this platform in a different section of the arena. And then all you see, basically, they got onto this platform, right? Bray Wyatt, I think Bray Wyatt hit him with a choke slam. And all of a sudden, you see Uncle Howdy show up on a platform. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, he does a flying elbow drop onto Knight, and everything exploded in flames. And it was just wacky. It was really wacky, and you could tell Uncle Howdy, he got way too excited for that jump. I don't know who that is, right? I don't know if that's Bo Dallas, but Uncle Howdy got way too excited to do that jump because he missed LA Knight by like a good 5-6 feet. He overjumped, which was funny, but that was that, and we'll see. We'll see what's next for Bray Wyatt. Who do you guys think that Bray should face at Mania? I think we need to start talking about that. When Mania around the corner, who does Bray? I don't know. Who does Bray face at Mania? Let me know who you guys think in the chat. Who do you guys think he should face? But yeah, it is what it is. Well, and honestly, I just hope that they keep pushing LA Knight as well. Don't just push LA Knight to the background now. Now that this feud is over, I keep using LA Knight, man. That's one of my favorites. So definitely I want to see him continue to get pushed. Moving on, we had the Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship, and this was definitely the worst part of the show. Easily. This match, I had zero care watching this match. The match wasn't bad. I'm not saying that. It wasn't like a bad match. I just didn't care at all. It was just, I was hoping that they would do a little bit more, especially since you kind of played up the big Alexa heel turn. But they didn't do much. I was hoping maybe Uncle Howdy appears or something like that, right? Alexa, like, not only does Bianca have to fight Alexa, but she has to deal with like the supernatural Uncle Howdy effect. I was hoping they would do a little bit more with that, but they didn't do much. They didn't do much. What like I said, it wasn't bad. Alexa dominated the first part of the match, and then of course Bianca countered with a suplex. It was just like I was just hoping really that they would have more Uncle Howdy or Bray Wyatt stuff. Just to make it because Bianca's the babyface here, right? But there was never a point in the match where you felt like Bianca was in danger of losing her title. If you have like Uncle Howdy in there, right? It's like, all right, something more for like the babyface to overcome. Without having Uncle Howdy or anything there to distract Bianca, it just feels like another match. This is something that you could have done on like a Monday Night Raw, right? And so it was like it was just it was I just had trouble caring about it. And then Bianca hit Alexa with the KOD, and that was that. That was that. At the end, they played a little video package, right? Where it showed more of like Alexa back when she was in the Firefly Funhouse, right? Her old personality, and then it looked like they teased Alexa going back down this dark path. But I was like, really? This is something like you could have easily done on Raw. This is something that you didn't have to do on this show, and that's where my complaints come in. I felt like you could have done this, especially since this show went past 12. It didn't end at 12:30, but it went past 12. I was like, this was only a little over 10 minutes. I want to say 12 minutes. So this is 12 minutes you could have taken out for the show to end directly at 12. Because they started at 8, ended at midnight. I was like, come on. But we'll see what happens going forward. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Will Alexa continue down this dark path? Like, where does this lead for her? You fail to gain the Raw Championship, so like, where do we go from here? But we'll see. We'll see. But I honestly felt like this could have been off the show. This was just the weak point, really. They could have done this on a Monday Night Raw, really, and then just done it there. I don't think they need to do this on this show, but it's whatever. But yeah. What does Bianca do now? I don't know. Maybe Bianca defends her title in the Elimination Chamber. I don't know what WWE's plans yet. Since that is the next pay-per-view, I don't know what WWE's plans are going to be for the chamber matches. But it'll be interesting. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. Will Roman defend his title in one of the chamber matches? I would love to see that. I honestly, we do got to think about that. Is something to think about because Roman has both world title matches, right? He has both world titles, so you got to think. We know that Cody's gonna be his opponent at Mania, so you got to think there's always a men's and a women's. There's always 2 chamber matches, one for the men, one for the women. So I don't know, Roman. I would like to see Roman defend his title in the chamber. I'm down with that. Who knows? But that would be interesting. That'd be interesting what their plans are for the chamber. Will Bianca defend her title in the chamber? Will Charlotte? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see, but that is something we should consider. know if it's something now that like the viewfinder just like likes to die after 30 minutes or what. That should piss me off. But but yeah, we'll see. Will Bianca defend that title at the Elimination Chamber? I don't know. I think the obvious route is Rhea Ripley versus Bianca at Mania. I think that's what you should do. Rhea should be the one to take the title from Bianca. But if they do Rhea versus Charlotte, which I hope they don't, who faces Bianca at Mania? I don't want to see Becky. I don't want to see Bayley. Right? Sasha's no longer there. I don't know what I honestly don't know what you do. So I think Bianca going up against Rhea Ripley should be the route that they should go for Mania, and then maybe you have Bianca defend her Raw Women's title inside the Chamber. That might be the best route for her going forward. But hey, we'll see. But yeah, also congrats to Bianca for surpassing 300 days as Raw Women's champion. She hasn't been a terrible champion at all. I like Bianca a lot. But her title reign, especially in the last couple months, just hasn't been as strong as it started. It's just been really, if I'm being honest with you guys. But like I said, we'll see if it gets a little bit better in the coming months. But still. And why does my camera keep freezing? I'm getting tight. I'm getting tight, man. Literally, I have no idea why it keeps freezing. Had this camera for like how many years and they never did this crap. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think they should do with Bianca until until we get to WrestleMania with her. Like I said, the obvious route should be her versus Ripley. That should be what they do. But just in case they try to give us Bianca versus, in case they try to give us Ripley versus Charlotte, what do you guys think the backup plan should be? Honestly, I don't know. If it's not Ripley versus Bianca, I have no clue what they should do. Moving on lastly, because we already talked about the main event, we got the Women's Royal Rumble match. I will say this right off the gate. I do think the Women's Royal Rumble match was better than the men's, slightly better, mainly because there was a little more surprise with the Women's Royal Rumble match. The men's Rumble match was strong, right? It was a good match, but there wasn't any big returns, no big surprises really in my eyes outside of Booker T and Edge coming back, even though we knew Edge was probably going to come back. The Women's Rumble match, you got some NXT superstars involved, which is always good to see, right? Give people a preview and a little bit of an introduction to future talent. And then you also get what's the name I'm looking for? You also got a couple returns as well. And remember, there was only a couple women that were announced for this match beforehand, which I think really helped because you really didn't have any idea of who else was going to be in the match. So I definitely got to give WWE credit on that. And my camera freezes. Yo, I'm actually getting tight right now. I have zero clue why my camera keeps like freezing. It's getting to the point where I might just do the rest of this podcast without video because this is annoying. This is really annoying. I never had problems with my camera like this. Now this thing wants to freeze every 5 freaking seconds for no freaking reason. And yes, I'm legitimately getting pissed. Makes zero sense. Bro, what the hell? actually getting pissed off right now. This way, I swear. Don't make me have to do this shit again. Don't make me have to like get up because I want to freeze. Golly, bro. Like I said, I was getting tight. I was getting tight there. Anyway, let's get into the women's match. So Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, who in my opinion was the two favorites coming into the match, they started off, and like I said, Liv was my favorite. Liv was the one who I wanted to win, right? And Ripley was, of course, the favorite. I think almost all of us could agree from the start that she was the favorite to win. But I'll give a shout out to both. Like they both lasted to the end. Both were the final two, and we'll talk about that ending, the ending to that to the match in a little bit. But these two were great. They were in there over 60 minutes. 60 minutes and made it to the final two. They didn't have 70 minutes like Gunther, but both were in there for the entire time, and I that also makes me really happy. Especially that WWE sees something in Liv Morgan. Really. She's a former SmackDown Women's Champion who, like I said, should have never lost her title to Ronda Rousey. Like, I think we all agree now, looking back at it, it was a horrible decision to give that title back to Ronda. Should have just kept it on Liv and just made her into a bigger star. But I'm just glad that even after Liv lost her title, that she's still being built. She's still being built up. Right? You know, when you have strong Rumble performances like this one, that shows you that WWE values you. It really does. And it's good to see that. That, you know, Liv, you know, and remember, Liv is a crowd favorite. People love Liv. I would love to see Liv win another title this year. Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I'm thinking about this right now. Liv should be the one to defeat Charlotte. I know people are going to say, you know, sit there and think for a sec. Honestly, I'm thinking who should face Charlotte at Mania if Ronda doesn't come back, which I kind of hope she doesn't. I think we're over Ronda at this point, right? You know, if you give us Ripley and Bianca, who should face Charlotte at Mania? Why not do Liv? Why not do Liv? Right? You could make arguments for, of course, like Bayley. Right? You could always go back to Becky, but I think people are sick of that. But you can do Bayley. You could also do Asuka after Asuka's reintroduction tonight. I don't think people would complain if Asuka went after Charlotte on SmackDown. But I'm saying, why not do Liv? Honestly, why not do Liv? She is a fan favorite. And we all know how good Liv is. I think Liv got done dirtied in that first championship run. I would have zero problem with Liv being the one to defeat Charlotte at Mania. I think WWE should consider that if you're looking at opponents for Charlotte. But that's just my opinion. All right. And y'all saying I need a new camera, bro. Yeah, sure. Maybe I do need a new camera, but gotta remember, new cameras are expensive. Unless y'all gonna buy me one, you know. Like I said, super chats are open. But unless y'all gonna buy me a new camera. Bro, another camera is freaking very, very expensive. But this is a problem. The camera is pissing me off today. Anyway, but yeah, back to it. We had Rhea and Liv start off the match, which was great to see. Both were incredible. They had Dana Brooke at number 3. Nobody cares about Dana Brooke. I have no idea why she's still wrestling. We had Emma at number 4. Shayna Baszler at number 5. And I was talking about this in Discord. It's like crazy how disappointing Shayna's main roster run has been. And she's been on the main roster now for 2-3 years now, and she's done absolutely nothing. Bayley came in at number 6, right? Bayley was definitely one of the people to watch out for. Some people thought that she was one of the favorites. I was like, yeah. You know, I could see Bayley making it to maybe the final 4, but I don't know if she'll be one of the favorites, but she was definitely somebody to keep an eye out on. You had BFAB come in at number 7. BFAB was wearing some pink sweater. I was like, BFAB, like, take your sweater off. What are you doing? But she was only in the ring for like a minute. She got eliminated super quick. So yeah, I guess I was like, all right, you get to keep the sweater on. Number 8, you had Roxanne Perez, NXT Women's Champion. And this was cool to see, man. Like, really put a focus and a spotlight on some of these NXT superstars. We did not get that with the men, right? And I don't think in last year's Royal Rumble, I don't think we got any male wrestlers from NXT. So I think this is 2 years now that we didn't get any NXT wrestlers in the men's Rumble match. But it was great to see that in the women's Rumble match, really, because it does put a spotlight on, future talent. So it was good. Roxanne Perez was in there for a little bit. I think she eliminated a couple people as well. But it was good to see her. Then we had Dakota Kai and Io Sky come in back to back at 9 and 10. So Bayley had all 3 members of Damage Control in there with her. And Damage Control dominated a good part of this match. They eliminated like maybe 4 or 5 people just together. So definitely they were very, very dominant. Which is good to see. Because Damage Control, I've complained about their booking now for months. Then we had Natalya coming at number 11. I sometimes forget that Natalya is still with this company. She's 41. She's 41 years old, guys. But yeah, Natalya, she came out. We had Candice LeRae come in at number 12. We had Zoe Stark come in at number 13. I am personally a big Zoe Stark fan. Love Zoe Stark. So it was really cool to get to see her, and she stayed in for a good part of the match. She was in there for a while. Zoe Stark, honestly, I think Zoe Stark should be NXT Women's Champion. I think either Cora Jade, who was not in this match, I was very disappointed. I love Cora Jade. But I think either Cora Jade or Zoe Stark, one of those two should be the ones to take that NXT Women's title off of Roxanne. But we had Xia Li coming at number 14. Xia had literally when she came out, she had a power pole that she brought with her all the way to the ring. I was like, what is she, Goku? Like, what are we doing here? So I laughed at that. We had Becky come out at number 15. And honestly, I Becky didn't last that long. She was in there for a little bit, but she did not last that long. Literally, she was mainly there to deal with Damage Control because they've been feuding for the last couple months ever since he came back. Becky came in and went right after them. And then, but basically Damage Control didn't attack her. They brought her outside and sent her flying over the announce table. Becky would come in a little bit later and, Becky would come back in a little bit later and she eliminated them. I think she either eliminated 2/3 of Damage Control. I know she eliminated Dakota Kai and Io. I don't know if she eliminated Bayley, but she came in. But then she would get eliminated a little later on, which was kind of surprising. I didn't expect Becky to win the match, but I definitely expected Becky to be one of the, maybe make it down to like the final 4, right? Because it's Becky. She's she's arguably their biggest star now that Sasha's gone, But yeah, Becky did not last too long. Hey, she was in there more just to continue her feud with Damage Control. Tegan Nox came in at 16. Asuka returned. We haven't seen Asuka since War Games, right? Asuka came in at number 17. And we know Asuka's been hinting for months at a little bit of a character change. And then we did get to see a character change from Asuka tonight. Asuka came out with new theme music. It's similar to her old music, but just a little bit different. Kind of like what they did with Johnny Gargano, right? Johnny Gargano's theme is a little similar to his old theme, but not quite. So Asuka's theme, like when you first hear it, it sounds a little bit like her, but it took you an actual sec to feel like that actually is Asuka, because it's not it's not fully her old theme, but it was great to see Asuka. But Asuka came out, she got a huge pop, and then she was wearing a new mask, right? And then she took her mask out and basically she had her murder clown She had the murder clown paint on, which is one of her, her old identities from her time in Japan. Uh she's never used it in WWE up to this point. Never even used it with NXT. But if you know Asuka from her time in Japan, definitely this was one of her old identities, and it was fantastic to see. Fantastic to see. Asuka came in on fire, and this is what we want. We've been wanting a more brutal Asuka for months, right? She still is it seemed like she still is a baby face, but still it seems like she now has like a renewed sense of purpose. You gotta remember, Asuka's also kind of getting up there in age. Asuka's in her late 30s, close to 40, so definitely I want to see Asuka get pushed as much as possible, because you don't know how much longer we're gonna have Asuka. You don't. But I was so very, very happy to see her. She came out with the new ring attire, right? Her hair was cut, and was dyed a little bit differently, but I love this rebranding. Because remember, if you know her from Japan, she was before she was known as Asuka here, she was known as Kana, right? That's what she was known in Japan. It was one of her more savage looks, and now it's back. Definitely it will be interesting to see what that leads going forward. Because definitely, I think we all want to see Asuka back at the top, right? Maybe right, after WrestleMania, we'll see like something like Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. That could be a fun feud going into the summer. Or maybe you never know. Maybe Asuka goes to SmackDown and challenges Charlotte. They have history, so you never know. But still, I do love this more brutal Asuka, this Myrtle Clown character now that we have here on the main roster. Love that. But yeah, Asuka came in absolutely raising hell. Very, very good to see. And she was in there. Asuka made it down. I think Asuka was in the final three. It was your final three or final four, but Asuka made in final three. Asuka was there down into the final three, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We had Piper Niven come out at number 18. She is no longer Dewdrop. So remember, it was Vince who changed her name to Dewdrop. But no, Piper comes back with her her old name, her NXT UK name. So so I'm happy for her. I definitely think she's very, very talented. I don't know if she's like women's champion talent, but still, she's very, very talented, and it's good to see her at least get back to her NXT UK roots, because that Dewdrop character was just not her. Tamina came in at number 19. Didn't care. Did not care about that at all. I honestly don't. I don't even know why Tamina is still with the company. Literally at the oldest time, she does nothing. I don't get that at all, man. Chelsea Green came out at number 20, so this was a little bit of a surprise, right? We've heard rumors for over the last couple months about her coming back, but we didn't even know it was actually gonna happen. But yeah, Chelsea Green came back at number 20. She came back as a heel, and she gained back and she got eliminated right away. This was one of the more baffling decisions of the match itself. I think Chelsea Green has a lot of talent, and I think a lot of us would agree on that. But she came back and was out in a matter of seconds. Then she complained, and so I don't know if this was just for tonight, or I don't know. I don't think Chelsea Green should be a jobber. I don't think Chelsea Green came back to be a jobber. So hopefully that was just a one-time thing. But yeah, she came out and she was gone in a matter of seconds. So we'll see where that goes in the coming weeks. It's good to have her back, but I didn't expect her to get eliminated like a jobber. Let's just hope that's not how she's treated going forward. We had Zelina Vega came out at number 21. Zelina came out dressed as somebody from Street Fighter 6, and then it was announced later on. They even had a little bit of an advertisement. Zelina's going to be voicing one of the characters in that game on the English dub side. So I know that has to be very, very cool for Zelina. Zelina is a big comic book person. So very, very happy for Zelina Vega. That had to be a special moment for her to be able to. Because if you follow Zelina on Instagram, she does cosplays all the time. So definitely it's to be special to be able to pull that out tonight. And she lasted in there for a grip. She had some really cool custom Air Jordan 1s. I noticed though, I noticed you, Zelina, right? She had some really cool Air Jordan 1s on. So that was cool. Yeah. Happy for Zelina. Number 22, Raquel Rodriguez. Sorry. Raquel Rodriguez came out. And of course, she was in her home state. So that had to be cool for her. They teased her and Tamina for some reason, which was like, I have Zoe. They had a little bit of a stare down. And I was like, why? Why? I like Raquel. I do. I think Raquel will probably become women's champion at some point in the near future. But I was like, why are you giving me a Raquel and Tamina face off? Nobody cares about Tamina. What? Like, I understand she's big, but why? Nobody cares about Tamina, man. Come on. But anyway, Raquel did eliminate a couple people. We had number 23, we had Michin. Mia Yim came out. Number 24, we had Lacey Evans, which who cares? Lacey Evans is on her 4th gimmick change, right? Where now she's trying to act like Sergeant Slaughter. And I'm just like, why? If you weren't able to get over the first 3 times, why would I care about you the 4th time? Why is the 4th gimmick going to be the one that gets me over with you? I had to think. I don't even remember all of her gimmicks. We had what the sassy Southern Belle, right? That's what it was called, the sassy Southern Belle. Then we had her American Hero gimmick. I might be missing one, but now we had this like Sergeant Lacey, whatever you want to call it, boot camp shit. I just don't care, Lacey. I just don't care. Sorry, I just don't care. You had Michelle McCool come in at number 25, which is no surprise. She's been in like every single one of these matches and never won it. So she was at ringside with her kids, right? She was there. What they showed her during the Bianca Belair Alexa Bliss match, right? So they made you think, oh, if she's out there with her kids, like she's not gonna be in the Rumble match. But they played her music, and then they showed her at ringside, and then like she took off like her hoodie. And then she got in there. And she was there for a little bit of time. I wonder if she went right back to her seats after she got eliminated, or if she went to the back. But yeah, that was that. Indy Hartwell came in at number 26. I love Indy Hartwell. She's one of my favorites from NXT. Like I said, I was very glad we got the NXT women's presence tonight. You guys know how much I love women's wrestling. My only thing is, why I wish we got Cora Jade. Why wasn't Cora Jade there? Triple H tells me that he sees a lot of Sasha Banks and Cora Jade. Why wasn't Cora Jade there? I would have loved to see Cora Jade in that match. But still, we got Indy. Indy came out. Like I said, Indy, Zoe Stark, Cora Jade. Those are my favorites from the NXT Women's Division. Wish, Cora was in there. But Indy came out. She was there for a little bit. We had Sonya Deville there at number 27. Even though Sonya Deville has a SmackDown Women's Championship match with Charlotte this Friday, Sonya's become the queen of getting title matches and losing them. I don't even know how many matches in the last year that Sonya's had and lost. Like seriously, Sonya's had so many title matches in the last year, no matter if it was against Bianca or Charlotte or even Ronda, and she's lost them all. Literally. So, can't wait to see Sonya lose yet another title match on Friday, man. Get ready for it. Next up, we had Shotzi at number 28. She came out with the tank. We had Nikki Cross at number 29. We talked about the ramp and how long it is. I don't think I've ever seen anybody run faster than Nikki Cross. I was concerned that she was going to fall, to be honest. Nikki came sprinting, full-on sprint to the ring, and like there's a little curve with the ring ramp, so I was concerned that like if like Nikki wasn't careful, she was going to slip and like just fall her ass, but she didn't. She made the turn, and she got into the ring and did her normal crazy stuff. And then number 30, if you have watched this podcast for any length of time, if you've known me for any length of time on the show, You know how much I despise. And I did, like, when I mean despise, I despise Nia Jax. Literally, I've hated her for years. For years on end. And there was rumors all day talking about Nia Jax coming back. I tried to ignore them because I was just like, these are rumors. There's nothing confirmed, right? I was like, please, I was hoping at number 30 it would be, like Naomi, right? And I thought this would be the night. We've heard all these rumors of Naomi re-signing or whatever, and like still, she's not back. Sasha's gone from WWE. She's out doing her thing in New Japan. And I thought this would be the night that Naomi would come back. And I was like, number 30 would be the perfect spot. You could even make an argument that Naomi should win the Rumble match, right? Naomi comes back and have her face Charlotte at Mania. Nobody would complain about that. You could have Naomi turn heel, join the bloodline, right? And have her beat Charlotte. I think nobody would disagree with me on that. But instead, they decided no, not to do that. I know Naomi tweeted out earlier in the night. She said, "I love y'all," and that was that. And she didn't show up at all. I was shocked. I honestly thought if Naomi is still under contract, if she is still with WWE, this would be the night to have her come back. It would be the perfect scenario. But she didn't. Instead of number 30, we get Nia fucking Jax. I despise this woman with a burning passion. If you guys remember, some of my best reviews back in the day were just bitching about how Nia Jax is overpushed and she sucks. And if you heard, I had no care at all when Nia got released. I was happy. And I thought we're never going to have to see her again. If she wants to go to AEW, fine. But if I don't have to see you anymore in WWE, great. Go to AEW, go to New Japan, go wherever. Impact. Like, I don't care. Just don't come back. And she came back tonight. Oh my gosh. I have to hear that cringe-worthy team song. I'm not like most girls. I hate her theme. I hate everything about Nia Jax. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Really? That's what we're doing? Why? Why did she come back? Why did they re-sign her? If you remember, Nia has been going on for months about how much about things that happened to her in WWE and how they didn't care about her and all these other things. And now you're back? Why? And then she comes back and like she teases, now they're teasing her versus Raquel Rodriguez. If that means that, Nia stays away from any title scene, okay, fine. Because Nia Jax being near any world title picture is cringeworthy garbage. But still, And here's the thing. Nia's back, and she's probably going to be on SmackDown. Because they're going to want to revisit her and Charlotte. Right? Remember, those two don't like each other. And like the way they go at it in the ring, they don't like each other. And now what? You're going to give me Nia versus Raquel? I'm like, why are you back? Why? And it doesn't make sense to me as well. If WWE, especially if they have some kind of problem with Sasha, or not Sasha, WWE, with all the problems that they have with Naomi and Sasha's gone. I do think Sasha will be back one day. Maybe next year. Hopefully, next year, Sasha will be back. Once WWE learns to treat her right. But, if Sasha's gone, right? Naomi, who is rumored to still be under contract, why hasn't WWE been able to, figure things out with Naomi? But they were able to figure things out with Nia Jax. Nia, who has publicly been on record, just absolutely saying the horrible, horrific things about WWE. But you bring her back, but you're not able to apologize to Naomi and bring her back after the way you treated her and Sasha? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, man. Oh, I don't know. But bringing back, the thing is, they botched Nia's spot anyway. They brought Nia out early. They brought Nia out and they had the countdown. They played Nia's music at least 15 seconds early. Because they started playing, because literally, they didn't do the countdown. All you just heard, they just played her music. I don't know who botched it, but they just played her music, and then you saw the countdown clock start. Which was like, so that was a botch on their end. But I care more that Nia's back than the botch itself. Why is she back? Why do I have to go through this garbage, man? Why do I gotta suffer like this? Ugh. Please. And I don't know, Chris says there was a photo of Nia with the bloodline. Well, I'm not worried about that. There's no way Nia's joining the bloodline. That's not happening. But I just still, this was garbage, man. Why is she back? We don't want her here. This is me being honest. We don't want Nia here, man. Luckily, she didn't last too long in the match. Like I said, they teased her versus Raquel Rodriguez, which I don't know why anybody would care about that, but whatever. They teased her and Raquel, and then everybody ganged up on Nia and they eliminated her. So that was great. But still, the final four was Nikki, Rhea, Asuka, and Liv. After they got Nia out, or not Rhea. After they got Nikki out, the final three was Rhea, Asuka, and Liv. And I was like, this little relaxing. I was like, I have no problem with either one of these three women. I love all three of these women. I love Asuka, I love Liv, and I like Rhea a lot. So I was like, Rhea's the favorite, but I'm not gonna complain I'm not gonna complain if any of these three women win or either. But basically the ending of this match was done really, really well. So they got Asuka out, or before Asuka got out, Asuka went to do the mist on Rhea, but Rhea saw it coming. Remember, Rhea's been hit with Asuka's mist multiple times, so Rhea was like, not gonna happen again. And it got in Liv's eyes, right? So Liv could not see. So Rhea then got rid of Asuka, right? So then, then Liv hit Rhea with a move and had Rhea on the ropes, but Liv couldn't see. So Liv could not tell where Rhea was. So she was just punching the air. So I think if I remember correctly, I think Liv went for like a Hurricane Rana, but because she couldn't see, her timing was off, and then Rhea saw that and then just eliminated her. And Rhea got the win. So there you go. Like I said, both Rumble winners tonight were very, very predictable. It was very, very predictable that Cody and Rhea were gonna win. They were the favorites for both match coming in, right? But I'm not complaining that they both won. They got the right. It was the right winner. I would not complain if Liv or Asuka had won, but Rhea was the favorite. So for all those who bet on Rhea and Cody, congrats. But afterwards, right? Rhea celebrated. They did the finger point, right? At first, she was doing it. She wasn't even doing the finger point. She was like doing like kind of like a demonic, like yeah. But yeah, Rhea wins, and I'm happy for her. Like I said, Rhea versus Bianca is what they should do. Please don't give me Rhea versus Charlotte. We've already seen that. I think the obvious direction should be Rhea versus Bianca, right? We haven't seen Rhea and Bianca, yet on the main roster. I don't think we have, so they've done a pretty good job of keeping them separate. Remember, Rhea was supposed to face Bianca last summer, but I believe Rhea got injured for a little bit, so they moved on. They had Damage Control and Becky and all that, but like I said, I think do Becky or do Rhea versus Becky. Or not Rhea versus Becky. Rhea versus Bianca is the right move, and hopefully that's what they will do going forward. Liv was incredible. I hope Liv gets something good at Mania. I would not be against her versus Charlotte at Mania, but we'll see. But either way, like I said, the women's Royal Rumble match was definitely a little bit better than the men's. Both matches were they were fine, right? No problems with it. But I definitely would say I enjoyed the women's match just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. But yeah, let me know which match you guys like better, and what would be what would you guys think they should do with both Rumble winners and what directions they go with them. But other than that, I'm gonna end the stream here, man. Like I said, overall, the Royal Rumble wasn't bad. Was it amazing? No, it was not. It wasn't an amazing show, but the two Rumble matches and of course what they did in the main event with Sammy in the bloodline was absolutely incredible. So that's what we're gonna remember from this show. People are gonna go back and watch that moment and watch that segment with Sammy turning on the bloodline. That's gonna be something people remember for years and years to come. It was done to absolute perfection. Absolute perfection, man. But yeah, like I said, going to Raw and SmackDown this week, it'll be very interesting to see what they do. Will the bloodline be on Raw this Monday, or will they save that for SmackDown? Who knows? But either way, I am hyped going forward. We are finally on the road to WrestleMania, and the road to WrestleMania is off to a strong start. It is, and I cannot wait to see what they got planned for us going forward. Raw and SmackDown is going to be absolutely must watch this week. Cannot wait to see what they have planned. But other than that, that's about all I got for you guys today, man. Thank you for joining me here on the podcast. I think I figured out why my camera was lagging. I think it was one of the USB thingies was acting up. But either way, thank you guys for joining me here on the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Hit the bell next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I will most likely see you guys back here Monday night for the Raw review. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys later.